Good afternoon, guys. Let's go ahead and come in and take a seat because we've got a fun and very packed day ahead of us. Alright, so when we hear the word go, one person from each group table is going to quietly come up to the front of the room, grab a reference sheet for each person in their group, and quietly sit back down. We'll have about 20 seconds to do so. So when we hear what word? What are we getting? How much time do we have? Alright, go. Okay, so let's talk about some grit. What exactly does grit mean and how do we show it? Let's take about 60 seconds to capture that on our reference sheets. Alright, so again, what does it mean to have grit? Well, when I think about grit, I first think about Toy Story. Now, I know we're all pretty familiar with Toy Story. This little screen capture right here shows Woody after he just saved Buzz from a kid that stole him. Now that right there shows a lot of grit. Or we can also come down here right here, and this guy right here is the Tiger King, as we all know. He can show grit by going into a cage full of tigers. But on a more serious note, let's look at this right over here. This is the FFA jacket. And I think we can all agree that just when we put this jacket on, that is the true meaning of grit. It shows passion, perseverance, and courage. However, today we're going to be talking about a different type of grit. The grit we're going to be talking about is a key element in all soils that is used to improve structure and drainage while providing small pockets to hold for essential air and water. Alright, so what are we doing today? Let's get excited. We're first going to be able to distinguish between 3 different soil particles, discover the importance of soil texture, and we're going to be able to use the soil texture triangle. Alright, so why is texture important? When we hear the word grit, we will quietly come up to the front of the room, grab a sticky note, write down why soil texture is important, place it on the whiteboard, and quietly sit back down. We'll have about 1 minute to do so. So when we hear what word, what are we doing? Where are we sticking our sticky note? How much time do we have? Alright, grit. Okay, so based off of everyone's responses, there were 3 specific responses that came up several times. So the reason why soil texture is important is it determines soil characteristics that affect plant growth. It affects the ability to hold water. And it provides vegetation and crops with specific nutrients and water needs. Let's go ahead and take the next 10 to 15 seconds to write that down on our reference sheet. Alright. Okay, so what are the 3 soil particles? They are each categorized in 3 different groups, starting with sand, silt, and clay. Sand. Sand is the largest particle in soil. What is it? That's right, the largest particle in soil. Oftentimes it feels kind of gritty, and it holds very low amounts of nutrients and water. Silt. Silt is a medium-sized particle in soil. What size is it? Medium. That's right. Good job. It's smaller than sand, but yet it's bigger than clay. It oftentimes feels pretty soft, crumbly, and it holds high amounts of nutrients and water, and it does not drain easily. Clay. Clay is the smallest particle in soil. Clay is what? Good job. It's the smallest particle in soil. When it's wet, it oftentimes feels hard and gets into clumps. As you can see right here, that clay is it's starting to dry out, and it's pretty clumpy. If you look down here, the clay is completely dry, and you can see all the cracks in it from it drying out. And when it's wet, it oftentimes is very glossy, sticky, and smooth. It holds high amounts of nutrients and water as well. Alright, so what do we know so far? When we hear the word go, we will pull out our whiteboards and we will go ahead and begin answering these questions. Go. Alright, so starting with the first question, what are the 3 soil texture categories? Let's go ahead and take the next 10 seconds to write those down. Once we're done, we'll hold up our boards. Alright, go ahead and hold those boards up nice and high. You can see them. Perfect. Okay, so again, what are the 3 soil texture categories? That is sand, silt, and clay. Great job. Alright, let's move on to our second question. What particle holds a low amount of water? Let's take the next 5 to 10 seconds to write that one down. Very good. Let's hold up our whiteboards nice and high. Great job. So again, what particle holds a low amount of water? That is our sand particle. Let's move on to our third question. Which particle feels soft and crumbly? Let's take another 5 to 10 seconds to write that answer down. Perfect. Let's hold up our whiteboards nice and high. Great job. You guys are doing good. So again, what particle feels soft and crumbly? That's silt. Let's move on to our last question. What is the smallest soil particle? Again, take another 5 to 10 seconds to write that down. Let's hold up our whiteboards nice and high. Great job. So again, what is the smallest soil particle? Clay. Nice job, you guys did excellent. Alright, so how do we use the soil texture triangle? First off, what is that? Well, by definition, it is a tool that is used to determine what soil texture is from a sample based off of texture percentages. Sounds pretty confusing, right? Don't worry, it's pretty easy. We're going to go ahead and go over an example problem. So let's look down right here. It says we have 75% sand, 15% silt, and 10% clay. So we're going to look at our triangle right over here. So again, it says 75% sand. So we're going to find our 75 down here where it says percent sand. 75 is right between the 70 and the 80, so right here. Now we're going to find our 15% silt, which is about, we're going to go to percent silt right here. We're going to go to the 20, there's the 10, so the 15's right in the middle. It's right about here. And then this one says 10% clay. We're going to go to the percent clay, find the 10. Okay, so when we have all of these percentages, the goal is to find where each of them meets, and then we can find out what the soil texture is. So if we have 75 right here, 10 right there, percent of clay, and then we have the 15% of silt. Drag this down. Alright, so that's our texture right there, is the sandy loam. Alright, practice time. So when we hear the word practice, we will go ahead and answer questions 1 and 2 on our reference sheets individually. We'll have about 5 minutes to do so. How much time do we have? What will we be doing? Alright, practice. Alright, so I noticed a lot of you guys really understand this concept, but let's go ahead and go over this in class together. So let's look at question number 1. 40% sand, which is right here. 50% silt, right here. 10% clay, right there. So we'll move the 10% down to the 40. Then again, the silt is 50, so we'll bring that down. Then we notice that we have the silt loam texture. Let's go ahead and move on to question number 2. We have 70% sand, it's right here. 15% silt, right here. 15% clay, which is right about here. So we slide this down, the 15 down, and again we have a sandy loam. Can I clarify on anything with that? Okay. So I must say you guys all soil impressed me. With that being said, before we leave today, our ticket out the door is to explain what the soil triangle is. We each have our little index cards, so be sure to hand those to me before you leave today. So today we covered a lot of ground. We were able to distinguish between the different soil particles. We discovered the importance of soil texture, and we were also able to learn how to use the soil texture triangle. So I say we go ahead and celebrate, because that was a job well done today. Let's go ahead and do a power clap together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Job. And our challenge for today is to determine which soil is the best for growing plants and why. And we're going to go ahead and share those ideas tomorrow. So again, just remember before we leave, make sure you give me your ticket out the door explaining what the soil texture triangle is. Alright, thank you guys. Y'all did a great job, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.